If at any time you get lost, you can just click the Tinkercad logo at the top and it will take you back to your home screen. I'm going to create a new design. By default, it generates somewhat of a ridiculous random name for you at the top. So just click and hold that to modify it. I'm going to call this Demo 1. Down here to the right, you can say Edit Grid, and I can change my units to inches, since that is what I'm more familiar with. I can also change the size of my work area. Now these are generally sized for 3D printers. And I can use this view cube to navigate around, or I can just pinch and pull or use my finger on the screen to navigate and rotate. I believe that was shown to you before. I'm going to start by placing a cube somewhat in the middle. And if you click one of the white corners, notice it's associated with two axes. So I can actually click the number one by one. And I'm going to use nominal dimensions of lumber. So I'm just going to call this 1 by 2. So I'm going to make this dimension 2. Hit OK. You can see it went 2 wide. It is 1 deep. Now I'm going to make mine, let's say, 5 inches deep. And I want to change the thickness of this. So how would I do that? Well, if I rotate around and I look at the white dots that's associated with those two axes, that's the same corner. So I'm going to click in the negative space, click on the blocks. I'm going to click that one at the height of the cube. I can now change this from 1 inches. I'm going to make it a 1/2 inch thick. All right. Now remember, to move, click off first, and then it's easier to just drag. So you can see it also gives me those numbers. So if I want to very strategically move this, I can start moving and then click the number and adjust exactly how far I want it to be moved. All right. Now I'm going to demonstrate using, I'm going to demonstrate a Dado Cut and to show you some more tools. So I'm going to change the color of this. Let's make it look somewhat like wood. So I'm just going to make it brown or tan. I'm going to now click another box, drag it out here. And I could redimension this, but actually what I'm going to do is just click this, and I'm going to duplicate it by clicking this button right here. This is also copy, but I'm going to duplicate. It's going to place an exact copy right there. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. And then I want to also rotate it 90 degrees in this orientation. So I'm going to go 90 degrees this way. And you can see it accidentally went to 89, and doing this on an iPad, that's probably going to happen a lot. So I could just hit back and try to drag that again, or I can just click that number and say -90. And it's going to snap right to it. All right. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to just change this color so you can see the difference. I'll make it a darker brown. So I'm going to click one, click the other. I'm going to use this align tool right here. And you have to choose where you want them to align. So I'm going to align them to the bottom of this one. You can see that one drops down and is now flush, which is what I want to do. So then I can click in the white space again. Now what I'm going to try to do here is to create a dado through the tan block using this block to cut a notch. Now I don't want it to go all the way through, or else it's just going to cut this tan piece into two. So what I have to do is move this block up the thickness of this board. Now if I forget how thick this actually is, what you can do is click the board, click this, and I can see, oh, it's 1/2 inch. So now I want to click the board I want to move, start dragging it up, and I could precisely just do it that way. Or again, you can click start and then click the number exactly how far up you want it to move. So I want it to go up -1/2. All right, so before I actually turn this into a cut, I'm going to duplicate this board. So I'm going to hit duplicate, and now they're right on top of each other, so I don't want to move it. I just want it to go away temporarily. So I can click off, click one of them, and hit the light bulb. Now you didn't really see anything happen because the other one's still there. But now I'm going to click this, and change the fill color to a hole. Then I click both and I choose this combine tool. So now what you can see is it cut that notch perfectly in there. And if I just hit the light bulb, it will bring back that other one. So this is almost done. I just need to click this and I'm going to move it. So I'm going to start by dragging it. Now you can see it's kind of tricky to do this. I want it to just stay in place, so I can very carefully move that, or I could just click this and change it to 0. I want it to go over. That looks pretty good. Now if I wanted this, let's say I'm making a joint that had to be specific width, again I can click this board, click here, this is too wide. If I want this one to also be too wide, I can click the board, click this white, and change this 5 to 2, hit OK. And now you can see if that was slid over, that would be perfectly flush on both sides, and that is how I would model a dado. Now a couple other tools. If it is snapping weird, you can change how precise it is snapping to that grid. You could also turn it off completely if you didn't want it to snap. Now I'm going to send to. I'm going to just download an image of this. So this takes me to a PNG of this. I'm going to click this little icon and say save image. If I were to try to export these to, let's say, 3D print, I could hit export and save this as an OBJ or an STL. If I was trying to laser cut it, I could also save it as an SVG. These are just different places that actually will 3D print this for you. Now one other little cool tool is this little AR feature. Go ahead and play with that. I'm not going to show you that, but if you click on it, you can take a scan of your room and actually show this little model in your space right where you are. Now let me just demonstrate one other thing. If I am getting lost in space, I can click the piece and hit that button, which will fill my window with just that object. Now if it's a really tiny object and you're like, whoa, it's too close, just hit home and it'll take you back to seeing your workspace as a full view.